an extroverted Southern Scorpio, I really struggled during the pandemic. Now, I am a moderate extrovert, which means I am energized by connecting with people I'm close to. I love going out to dinner, going on retreats, going to the theater, and singing with my LGBT chorus in Baltimore. So all of that was taken away, and I was devastated. And I really missed the stage. How I loved the stage. See, before the pandemic, I was performing my one-woman show called A Lesbian Belle Tells, about my true stories of growing up down south in Mississippi, coming out as a lipstick lesbian in the 90s. I was a pioneer, y'all. There were not many of them. Family drama and finding healing. And then finally, in May of 2020, my memoir was published. May of 2020. Thank you. But it was in the midst of the lockdown, and I was devastated. So I had to cancel all those Southern book tours. Now, most of my closest friends are real introverts, bless their hearts. And here's what they said about the pandemic. Well, I actually didn't have a problem with the pandemic. I mean, I loved being in my yoga pants and not having to wear a bra and just working on Zoom all the time. I don't need to see people. WTF, y'all. I need to see people. Well, 2021 came along, and remember, it was like this. We thought we were coming out of it, and then all the variants. Well, I did one book signing in DC and another one in Provincetown for Women's Week, and things were starting to feel better. And then in 2022, I performed my one-woman show in the Intersections Festival at Atlas Theater, and that was great. And then in 2023, I lost my way. And I got real depressed. Now, I've had sort of garden variety anxiety and grief. I've lost a lot of people, but I had never been clinically depressed. And it felt like I was at the bottom of this well and that I wasn't gonna come up, like no hope. And it was sort of like the perfect storm of a lot of difficult things that happened. I had a physical injury and I was in chronic pain. I had Achilles heel tendonitis from wearing flip-flops and house shoes too much during the pandemic. And so don't do that. And so when I finally got to the right doctor, he said, well, you're just gonna have to rest and be in this boot for like 6 to 8 weeks. This was last summer. And he said, you really shouldn't be driving very much because that makes it worse. So there I sat on my couch, binge watching. Now I love me some Ted Lasso and Virgin River, but I needed to get out and see the world. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna ask for help. I'm gonna go back to my therapist. I had this great therapist that I had seen on and off for 25 years, y'all. So her website was up, but her phone number was disconnected. And I even looked in the obituaries. She wasn't there. And there were wait lists. If you're looking for a new therapist, and I wanted to see one in person, I wasn't gonna see one for the next 4 or 6 months. But I had this great energy healer down in Asheville, North Carolina. So we did a lot of Zoom sessions, and when my foot was better, I'd go down there and we would do body work, craniosacral, and breath work, and grief rituals, and that helped a lot. But I was still lonely, and my wife and I were arguing a lot in the house, and our older dachshund developed dementia, bless his heart, and he'd get lost in the house, and he'd just be barking all day long. It was really chaotic. So I thought, okay, I'm just gonna meditate a lot and keep doing the energy healing and drive down to Asheville every few weeks. And then in this meditation, I got some spiritual guidance. And I got the message that I should be of service and I should smile more. And then I heard a real practical piece of advice: get your ass back to water aerobics and start exercising. So I did. I started to feel a little bit better. And then I was driving, we live in Tacoma Park, and I was driving by the Tacoma Park Presbyterian Church, which is this beautiful, very progressive stone church. And I saw a sign by Dr. King that said, darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna spread some light. I'm going to reach out to the minister at the Presbyterian Church and I'm going to offer to be of service. I can do grief support groups. I'm a counselor and an interfaith minister. I can do storytelling groups. So I emailed this new minister. He had just moved to Tacoma Park from Athens, Georgia. And we got together for lunch the next week. And he's the nicest guy, this really progressive Southern guy, originally from Raleigh, North Carolina. And he confessed to me that he really struggled during the pandemic, that he got really down. He went through a horrible divorce. And then he moved to Tacoma Park in 2021. So he could be authentic, and then I could be authentic. And I felt like I'd known him for a long time. And then he said something that really resonated, y'all. He said, I said, well, how do you like living in the DC area? I mean, you moved in the middle of the pandemic. That must have been so hard. And he said, well, you know, DC's okay. I mean, people are really smart and ambitious here, and the museums are great, and theater and restaurants. But he said, I gotta admit, I kind of miss the South, where people are friendlier, and, you know, we enjoy a slower pace of life. I mean, people here, even in Tacoma Park, they don't really hang out on porches and patios unless it's a committee meeting. You know, and now all those are on Zoom. Sick of Zoom. I said, oh, I'm with you, Mark, I know. And I thought, you know, I miss people in my hometown, and I need to reconnect with some Southern friends. Now, my parents have been dead for a long time, and their whole generation is gone. But I thought of a family friend, Steve, who's the local funeral home director. Now, I was supposed to perform my show and do a book signing in 2021, but we had to keep canceling and rescheduling. So in August, I call Steve. Hey, Steve, it's Elizabeth McCain. Hey, girl, we just picked up 3 bodies. I'll call you back tonight. They're dropping like flies down here. Okay, Steve. So he calls me back that night. Girl, when you coming home? When you coming down here? You want to come perform your show and do a book signing? You know, I renovated that little Methodist chapel out on Highway 45, and it's out on my farm, and it's a performance venue now. You can perform there if you want. I said, Steve, that's great. I'd love to. Well, how does it work? Do I rent it? Do you take a percentage? Oh, no, girl. I mean, your daddy gave me my first business loan in 1975. He was a very good banker, and he's the reason that I became so successful. So I'm going to help you out. I'm not going to charge you a penny. You just tell me what you need. And hey, my birthday is November 5th, and I think yours is soon after, if I remember right. Yeah, my 60th birthday is November 8th, Steve. Lord have mercy, we gotta have a Southern Scorpio birthday party. After your show, we'll have a Southern barbecue, a little bourbon. We'll tell stories late into the night. I can't wait to see you. Thank you, Steve. I can't wait either. So we booked it for November 19th. I'm driving down there. I'm going to stay a week. I've reconnected with all these childhood friends. It's been amazing. And I realized something, that as long as I share my stories with people, I won't get depressed.